You ain't gonna put.
Nah, she's trying to get me to. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you gonna get? You gonna get free money G?
Oh, it's
No.
huge. I'll do it.
No,
I'd
you're
do
not.
it.
You gonna get?
I'd totally do it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna let her. Yeah.
Oh, free money, G. Do it. Do it today.
Get it. She wanna get.
You're not even following. Who? Me? Again, I thought Christian said I was good. But mic check 1 2 to appease you. You're not saying nothing. Keep talking. Yo, what? Where'd that light come from? Y'all trying to make me more pale? Yeah, Mira. This is my show. How's the sound of my voice? Is it annoying you yet? Am I good now? Stop it. Oh, okay. Mira's making me uncomfortable. I don't know. Give me something to talk about.
Now I should be two. Mic check. How's my camera? My mic. How do I look?
Wow, 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 wow.
How do I?
Oh, he's looking at his what?
Not that kind of show, Leslie.
Wow.
Why'd you put the camera? Other one, the other knob, that one.
Because of that
The other
picture you
knob.
sent to the group chat the other night, she's still fixated on it.
She's still fixated. That's great though.
Why am I not in this group chat?
Oh,
I'm addicted to the group chat.
That's why you're not in the group chat.
I have like 5 of them on there.
real quick.
We have a weird chat just for weirdness.
You talking about Joseph?
He knows I call him that.
We are streamlining for all day.
$1 million mullet, talking Ted DiBiase.
See,
I'm not
that's
sure what
Captain
this.
Billy is my only.
I'm not sure this drink is
Still,
doing over
the
here.
trailer park.
There you go. There you go for our new friend.
Oh, thank you.
Aww.
Covered the titty.
Look at her go. Aw.
He's already got the anchor on like.
Yeah, anchor.
Like this shirt.
You like it a lot. Leslie, do I look right? Everything's good?
You can zoom in also. You might be able to zoom in more. Yeah, that's on the lens. We're live streaming right now. All right, we're live streaming. This is Ink Therapy. It's a little chaotic right now. I think we're going to reel it in, maybe. Oh, yeah. Well, we're getting camera angles in first.
Why haven't I been mic checked yet? I've been mic checking the whole time.
We got him.
Okay, close that thing.
Yeah, ma'am, please. PG. Or G. G. We need G here.
And then hit that focus. Yeah, there you go. Good job.
Oh, we got weird talk about heavy
$1 million. Mic check. Mic check good. All right.
Everybody's shoulders back. Straight bro.
You ever seen on the internet the thing called bi sitting? You ever heard of that? Yeah. It's when you sit like that or
Mic check. Jiggy check. Microphone check 2.
And you wonder why I said what I said in the group chat.
Shut up.
I don't know what you guys said in the group chat. Can you stop talking about this group chat without me being in the group chat?
He was right on with that cat
Shut
Just
up.
like he did at Vision Warriors.
messaged you
What?
straight up with the whole cat
Because I said it at Vision Warriors too, and everyone agreed with me.
Oh,
Not in that,
normally.
not in that podcast voice either, where you go, "Oh, they just really thought."
Do I really sound like that?
You go to counselor voice.
Oh, I do. Oh my god. Wow, what a piece of stuff I am, right? Piece of shit.
No, you're not.
Chad.
Don't say that. That's right.
Chad. Chad, are you smoking your vape right now? Chad. I always having to try again. I don't want to try anymore, Chad. I just want to do.
Amen. Oh.
Count to 10.
I was going somewhere else with
First
that.
of all,
Count
real
to
quick.
10.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
Okay,
6,
we got
7.
nothing from you, Nora.
You got nothing for me?
No, no sound.
Let me slide our camera real quick.
She's channel 3. Yeah, I got it. Okay, we just got to clear the. Mic check again, count 10.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10. 10, 7, 5, 2, 1, 3, 4.
Right here, this is what they say.
Yeah. I do that. When I was younger, like little shorty kid, I used to sit like that and make myself like it's like a built-in booster seat. You know what I'm saying? You're like, oh, dude, and it gives you a little bit posture.
At my desk at work.
Can your hands in that shot?
That's fine. It's okay. It's okay with the hand.
Handshake.
Wait, are we gonna be able to see you with him doing there?
It's going. You got that one and that one
Oh, okay.
and this one.
Worried.
We just ain't gonna be able to see
Worried
you.
about Christian.
Oh yeah, we'll see you.
Yeah, someone has to.
All right, we're rolling, we're live,
No.
we're going.
Live rolling and it's good.
All right.
Wow.
And thank you, God, for the opportunity. Thank you for everybody here. Thank you for just a wonderful life that is not in the bounds that people said it was going to be. We're grateful for you and for everybody here, and we surrender this time to your care and control. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
All right. Mic's on. Right here. This my mic. This my camera. Ready good? All right.
Are you okay?
I am. It's a lot of gears shifting. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Most High Show, and this is a special edition.
Wow.
This is called Ink Therapy.
Yeah.
We got in-studio audience chilling, hanging out. Dylan Jones is in the house. He's doing some tattoos. Sarah, with a capital H, is here.
Yes.
Mira, all the way from Cherokee County, is here, hanging out. And Leslie's doing quality control. My man Chad's on the ones and twos. And this is an episode we like to call Ink Therapy. Give a round of applause for the Most High Show.
Dang.
All right. So, Dylan, can you talk and tattoo at the same time?
I can.
Don't mess it
Damn.
up.
I want to. Yeah. So like, this is a lot to get it set up, man.
It was. This is why we wanted to do this for years. We've talked about it.
Yeah, and it was like it started out as like an idea. I think we was in your dining room, just like where the set was, and we was just kicking it.
Yeah.
It started out getting little tattoos here and there, and then we was like, oh, we need to do this, and finally, like, you're in a spot now. I think I've improved a lot better, you know what I'm saying? So we can come down here and do this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the concept of ink therapy is, because Dylan's a close friend, and then he's doing my tattoos, we naturally have these really good conversations. And I think depending on who your tattoo artist is, right, like that's always was important to me for whoever was tattooing. Like I wanted to have some sort of, I don't know, at least a connection where I could talk, right?
Yeah.
Because I think when you're in that position and then the endorphins start kicking in because the ink's going in the skin, and you start feeling that little high, natural, the Lord's old E, that's what I like to call it.
Yeah.
It's the Lord's old English.
Getting
And
filled
when
up.
the Lord's old English starts hitting you, then you feel like you want to talk a little bit.
Yeah.
And you might talk about some real shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that's the concept of ink therapy.
Yeah, and we got deep too, so it's like whatever,
Yeah.
No, I like that.
Don't keep it too weird, but let's dive in on some
Well,
stuff.
I'd like to go ahead and get started on your
All right.
tattoo.
You ready?
So Sarah's getting a tattoo, Mira's getting tatted, and so am I. So this concept of ink therapy goes way back for me. So I got kicked out of the house when I was 17 years old and moved to Santa Barbara, lived with my grandparents. And the reason why I got kicked out of the house because I was selling and using meth like a lot. I was just graduated high school. And so I was living in Santa Barbara. There was no meth.
Oh, man.
There were other things, right? Crack and coke and heroin and stuff. I'd graduated out of the desert. But I hadn't really found that in Santa Barbara yet, and I was really going through a craving intense. I had gotten paid, had some cash in my pocket, and I was like, I wanted to get meth. I was just feeling that. You guys understand a craving, right?
Of course, of course.
And instead, I took that money and went to the tattoo shop.
Mm.
And they tatted this thing on my back, which is supposed to say C-note
What
in
does
Japanese
it say?
letters from left to right, so nobody can read it.
What's a C note?
C-note was my graffiti name back in Bakersfield.
like $100
my tag name,
$100.
C-note, like $100 bill.
$100
But
bill.
I said C-note because my name's Christian and I liked music, so I put C-note together. And then somebody was like, "Oh, that's like $100 bill." So I was like, "Cool."
Oh, wow.
So I got that tat on my back, and that was literally the last time I'd ever craved methamphetamines.
Really?
But obviously, a new,
You've done a lot
Yeah.
of work. You've done a lot of work.
a new.
So, but it does not say C note, though.
It does. It's just because it's the Japanese C and the Japanese N and the Japanese O, and so Japanese writes in a different. They don't write left to right,
Right.
so no one knows what it says.
But you
Which
know
is
what
kinda
it
like
says.
I know
Serious.
what it says. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
There
It's
goes
not
that
like
twitch.
no regrets type of thing.
No.
There goes the twitch.
Very good.
But the real point of that was just that I had kind of that was like my ink therapy. It was my first time really getting that ink therapy because I've never craved meth since. Yeah.
So there was like, it's weird, like how like you overcome your like suffering with what? Like, did you what caused you not to want to get high like a tattoo? Well, it released endorphins, but
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I definitely didn't stop using. Like, I kept drinking and smoking and then got into coke and stuff in Santa Barbara. But,
I think people are gonna watch this and think, "Oh, that's the trick." So just
That's
get a bunch
the trick.
of tattoos
Well,
and
I
won't be-
mean,
get high, right?
You know about though, like learned behaviors is like something they try to teach. Like when you're trying to come off substances, is when you feel that urge, do something else, and like you train your brain to do something else. So do you think maybe? I mean, I'm not qualified or a scientist or any sort of thing, but do you think maybe you trained your brain being like, oh, meth, tattoo?
yeah, I think what I did was I gave myself an equal experience, like equal physical, psychological experience to what that first, when you haven't used and you go back to use, right? That first line, when you go back, is like intense, right? And so I gave myself an equal kind of experience, I think, which kind of like let me know, oh, there's other ways to. I'm not saying that it was the best form of therapy, but it certainly.
Well, it's at least it's the most what do you call it? Predictable outcome. You know.
Yeah, what's gonna happen?
Oh, no,
I'm
oh,
gonna
yeah,
have a tattoo.
that's
Yes,
it, yeah,
right.
yeah.
I think it was.
I'm not
opposite.
gonna get arrested for that.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I've known people that like they, you know, especially some like I have a brother that's in my sponsee brother and down. He said, you know, like he had broke up from a really rough relationship, like the first one in recovery. It was very rough for him. You know, just tried it out and thought everything was going well, and then you know it didn't, and it really just it messed him up. So he decided to get a tattoo that says "I'm enough" on his arm, and so he was able. And he was like, I could see how this relief of the pain through the tattoo helps him to heal through the process, because you're processing the pain not only through step work or through your sponsor or through therapy, but like you're allowing yourself to have something that symbolizes something that you overcame through artwork that you'll have on you forever to remember how we conquered that moment, or how our higher power in the program really works through something that symbolizes something that we survived.
Well, it's also ritual. I think that humans by nature are ritualistic. So
Absolutely.
and there's a ritual to getting high and to getting dope. And you know, I mean, you guys probably all relate to like
Yeah.
getting bubble guts before the dope man even gets there, or just
Mm,
when you know
right.
it's on the way, or when you pass by a place you used to get high at, right? And then there's the ritual of getting it and what you do with it and what pocket you put in it, and then where you lay it out,
Music you
where you
play
use it.
and-
All of that's
Oh, the
ritual.
music part.
The
Oh,
music, all
Yeah.
of it's ritual.
Yeah.
Every time.
And a tattoo is ritual,
Yeah.
right? And so the thing I think that we, because a lot of us are non-religious people, and most people find ritual in religious institutions and stuff like that, right? But even a meeting is ritual, right?
Mhm.
We read the same readings in most meetings, whatever fellowship you're a part of, they're going to read the same readings,
Right.
right? And as soon as that reading comes in, no matter how many times you heard it, that's the beginning. Well, the ritual probably even starts before when you decide you're going to go and
Yeah.
you drive there. And maybe you have a seat or a section you like to sit in or someone you like. So it's all ritual.
Right.
And I think that we just don't consider ourselves as ritualistic, but I think that's a big thing that's what we're doing. They would call it behaviors. Right?
Yeah.
But I think you're creating a different ritual.
It becomes so second nature, it doesn't even seem ritual, but when you talk about it, it really is. And that's I think that's the foundation of early recovery. Really, is that for me, I had to do the same damn thing over and over again.
Yeah.
You know, get that cup of coffee, see my friends, maybe take a picture. Oh, the key tags, you know, like all that stuff, you know.
Absolutely. And I think I think IV users, there's a more intense ritual that goes on with that too. There's a little more
Yeah.
involved with that process.
Yeah, for me, it's like I was like, it was almost sick. Like for a while, I didn't know how to get tattooed without being high. You know, like some people, they're like, man, I didn't know how to. I couldn't play pool at a bar without being drunk. You know, so that's like
Right,
a trigger.
right,
Like,
right.
and tattoos for me was like a trigger. I mean, but you know, and then I had to go through, you know, at least a couple years of just I didn't engage in tattoos or nothing like that. And I mean, it's a little different than a syringe, but at the same time, it's like,
Association.
yeah, and you got to develop that part in your mind of like knowing, like you're getting tattooed, you know, for pleasure, but like sometimes, like when I was high, I was doing tattoos. I was getting tattooed just because I needed to feel something. I was
Right.
numb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know how to feel.
I got a tattoo once on my arm by this guy. Same guy that did my back, but we did it at his house. You know, he was in the bathroom for a while before he came out to tattoo me,
Ooh.
and then he's in there tattooing me like that.
Oh man.
I was like, all he was doing was putting a V on my shoulder.
Oh, thank God, right?
You ever given yourself a tattoo, Christian?
I have not, but I would be into that. Yeah, it would be cool.
I tell you what,
You've done that, right, Dylan?
yeah, it's like my whole left arm was a coloring book. Thank God I practiced on myself before I did other people, right?
That was really nice of you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I mean, and then so I got a funny story, but it's like I got the Road Runner on the back of my leg, and I was sitting in a chair like this, and I was like this for like hours trying, and then like, yeah, I got stuck like that. I mean,
I can imagine.
crippled, like, yeah, it was intense, man. But like, I did it like that because I was just like, I don't know, I'd get bored and I'd just sit there and want to do tattoos
Lord,
and
I
stuff.
know.
A
Well,
lot
you-
of that, but it gets deeper. The tattoo thing, it's not just like an addiction. Like I had to ask myself, like, why was I getting tattoos? You know, and I think when I was like younger or something like that, like I had some friends that were older than me, and they got more attention from women because they had a lot of tattoos. So it's like the sex appeal thing, right?
Yeah.
And I was talking to you about it the other day, like, what did I call it? The trailer park effect, where you were like, yeah, you look good from far away.
you're like a Mona Lisa.
Right. I got
Yeah.
addicted to just doing tattoos, and I didn't care what they looked like
Right.
because I knew, you know, that's, you know,
It just looked like you had.
I didn't look like I was cool. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? I was a loser. I was, but you know, I was.
Well, I mean, when I started getting tattooed, more people. Let's say you went to the beach, right? More people were not tattooed than tattooed, like in the late '90s, early 2000s, and then now it's the opposite. Now, if you want to stand out, don't have any tattoos. And
Yeah, it's
that's like
bizarre.
the new tattoo.
Well, my sponsors, I mean, like her mother, like associates the tattoos, because she's an older lady, you know, she associates the tattoos with something not so great from her culture.
Yeah.
You know, just like
gangs
thieves
or
or
something,
gang. Yeah. So she's, you know, she sees it. You know, but she's, you know, that's just generational.
Yeah.
And like I think even in different places, you know, the recovery community is a lot. You see more people in recovery kind of tattooed up.
I didn't get any of my
Yeah, for real.
tattoos till sobriety. I
Mm.
couldn't afford them before
Yeah, I know.
sobriety.
You're like, do
Yeah.
I want to get this or I want to get a tattoo? No, you know, you just.
Yeah, I didn't even have like anywhere to live. I'm like, okay,
wasn't even
like
thinking
all of the money goes to the dope man.
Right.
That's what we're supposed to do over and over and over again, or you just live at the dope man's house. It's probably the best thing. Yeah, man, yeah.
That was that's your
That's my
that's
story.
your thing.
Well,
That's
that
my
was
story.
that nice
The
crack
nice-
house in Florida,
Yeah.
the crack home.
They were such nice
That would
people.
make a
Thank
cool
you for watching.
that would make a cool HGTV show, like renovating crack homes. But like
I would watch that.
only shit from the dollar store, you know. and-
Renovating
or
a crack
trash.
home on a crack budget.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. Crack home renovation.
We're like, we're gonna give everything that you
No,
need
crack
right
home
here.
renovation sounds like it's crackheads renovating your home, and you might be
Right.
missing some
Trap-
piping after
Trap
that.
house renovations. Trap house.
Trap house renovation.
That would
That's
be.
actually, like,
Yeah.
trap house is like it's not a derogatory term in the culture that we live in. You know.
No.
Crazy.
No, you just get trapped in those things.
Man, can you grab me a water, please?
Hmm.
Yeah. I mean, I think like I had somebody who's really going through something, and he's like, I'm gonna go get my arm tatted, sleeved up, and you know, based on the other options he had, I'm like, yeah, send it. Like, go get tattooed. Like that's of the other things he's gonna do, which is probably go get drunk and get in a fight. It's like
Right.
go get the tattoo instead. you
Yeah,
know?
it's like harm reduction.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, it's like, can you, because it's like, you know, sometimes, you know, I don't necessarily get like the next tattoo or the next piercing that I want because I can't afford it. But, you know, when it comes to, you know, like when I was new, like that urge to drink or that urge to use, like that was always stronger than I need to have money for X, Y, and Z. And so if going and getting a cheap tattoo is going to stop that urge,
As long as you don't pick up, everything's gonna be okay.
as long as you know what?
As long as you don't pick up.
As long as you don't
Yeah.
use, so you go into
Yeah.
counselor voice.
Sorry, I was
Yeah,
just.
I could not hear you.
Shut
You
up.
just went into counselor voice. Yeah, I tell people that. I tell them,
I
like,
mean-
there's, if you don't get high, you don't drink, you don't pick up, there's nothing you can't come back from.
Yeah.
You can come back from anything.
Yeah.
And the moment you pick up, that's
You're
you just
screwed.
made your life exponentially harder for no real reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot. Life is a lot harder. But everything that but it's all these life things that bring us back to,
Yeah.
because it's the only thing we know how to deal. That's how we deal with pain. It's how we deal with pleasure. It's how we deal
Yeah.
when things are going good, when things are going bad. And so we begin to live life, and we think, "Cool, I don't have this desire to use.
Yeah.
I'm good." And then life hits you, you know, and your significant other ain't happy with you, or you get money problems, or you get a flat tire, you know, or someone doesn't say the right thing to you the way you think they should. And all of a sudden this feeling comes in, and you know, that's why you have to have a program.
Yeah.
Like, I don't really care what it is. You got to have something that, because otherwise you're going to just go right back to that old coping, right?
Yeah.
Right. This is just to add in to the other things that you do, like as far as like the I guess that would be for me, like to check out the boxes of like things that I can use to kind of help me to get through a situation, and like to kind of allow myself to feel the pain from the situation, but not have like the results of how I feel from other stuff, you know, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, and that's like something that I commend you on, is like, and that's something like you learn to sit in the pain and the feeling,
Yeah.
as opposed, because even like a healthy coping mechanism is still a coping mechanism. At
Yeah.
some point, we have to face ourselves, right?
Yeah.
Well,
But
I
I
used
think-
to, I used to like make myself get sad. You know, it's weird, but like when I was using this stuff, like that was the thing. Like another thing leading back to that, like I just wanted to feel something, feel alive.
I used to put on that song, "What if God was one
Oh
of
my
us?"
God.
Is that real?
Or like
Is
a
that
Adele radio, you know.
I Are you like capping right now? That's
You
real?
don't know that song?
No, I mean I know.
No,
the
I'm not
song,
capping.
so
Oh.
you would
Yeah.
do that? I would put
Yeah.
on like some Stained or like some like
Oh, just put One Last Breath by Creed.
okay.
Land.
You're
Hello?
suicidal.
Is
Yes,
it
I
me
am.
you're
No,
looking
not,
for?
not actively. Not anymore.
Not today. Yeah.
Not today, Satan.
Well, like that was one of the things when we did your story on the art kind of vignette. You talked about how doing makeup became
Yeah.
a big thing for you in your recovery,
Yeah.
right?
It was the only thing that, like, could keep my brain from spinning out before going to a meeting where I could, deal with the fact that my brain was spinning out because so was everyone else's.
Right.
But
That's
Yeah,
what
and then
we
like you didn't think that you could do it because you weren't under the influence of something.
yeah, if I wasn't high, I'm like, I have shaky hands. And I still have shaky hands. I just know how to work with that. But, but it was ironic because the person who taught me to do makeup, like the first time I ever did makeup where I was like, yeah, that looks good, was my ex's meth dealer. She lived next door.
Yeah.
And she taught me how to do makeup.
See,
And now it's my sobriety thing.
Blessings come from the strangest places, don't
Yeah.
they? Yeah.
That's like my sponsee sister Roxy. She's the same way. That's like her go-to. She'll be like doing makeup over and over again, like eyelashes over and over. Just a way to kind of deal with whatever's going on.
Yeah. It's hard now because I'm like, I wanted to do makeup the other night because I was like, my brain's spinning out. But I'm like, it is 6 o'clock. If I do makeup right now, I'm not getting to bed till 11.
Oh, it's
Wow.
like that.
Yeah, because when I do, like, because I'll also, film content for, like, Instagram reels and stuff. And so I have to come up with a song, come up with the concept, like, film all of this stuff,
It's like a
edit it
whole
all
ritual.
together.
It's like a ritual.
It is a ritual.
Oh.
And it's 3 to 4 hours long.
Oh wow. And so
Yeah.
by the time you're done,
By the time
Oops.
I'm done, I want it. You think you're funny.
That's what it says.
I know.
what?
The tattoo says oops.
Yeah, so I was like, oops.
Oh, nice. I like that. I didn't know.
She
it
caught
said
that quick, dude. There's no way. I'm here sweating.
I've been around.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, I think like that's a big part of it. It's like I think most of us are so critical and judgmental of ourselves, and so we can kind of get into this like constant like trying to improve, and I got to stop this, I got to stop that, or if I'm going on a run, I'm running too much, or you know what I mean? It's
Yes,
like, dude,
that
give
voice
yourself a
never-
freaking break. Like, shut
Yeah.
the hell up. Like.
Right.
Like, no matter what you pick, it's wrong. Like, I'm running too much, or I'm not running enough, or I'm doing this too much. I'm not doing
Right.
this part enough. And it's constantly, it's that voice in your head that tells you it's never good enough. You're not doing the right thing. Everything's wrong. And it's just like that spiral out. And if you don't
Yeah.
put that stop sign up fast enough,
Yeah.
you spin out. And the next thing you know, you're making a bad coping decision.
Well, I think that's like that. What I was talking with Christian about is like the ways that I cope today compared to last year are like night and day. I mean, and still I was even kind of like a little frustrated with the way that I was coping because I was dealing with stuff with my daughter and it just tore me up. It was like that. They just wouldn't let me see her anymore for just no real reason, just because they can. And and I had to just play by the rules, but it didn't. Either way, how it was affecting me was like, I didn't know. My brain was going all these different directions on how to cope with this pain because it was like so familiar not having her in my life. So I was like, this way and that way and sabotage and blah, 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 blah. Everything you could think of how to like cope in the ways I was thinking of. And then what I ended up doing was I was crying at the nail aisle in CVS at 2 o'clock in the morning on the phone with my sponsee sister. And I was like, fuck it, I'm going to buy a large fry, and I'm trying to
Absolutely.
eat right. And he was like, think about the coping skills that you used last year compared to what you're doing now. That's not so bad, And
Yeah.
so, although I thought I could do acrylic nails, which is very hard to do, I can't. That was going to be my new coping skill, but I kind of set it aside.
Yeah, I really like that. The creative thing, like what you did with her. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, just finding a way to like stay sober, right? Like this is it, right? You gotta be able to create, like, manifest some stuff in your life, and it starts with something simple, like just this, like a drawing, a scrapbook, doing tattoos and stuff like that, and that's another way, like they teach us we're supposed to carry the message, right? And that's a way to get out of ourselves, me being creative by myself, sometimes I can get out of myself. It's like you have like an out of body experience, right? Because when you're creating, like sometimes even with music and stuff, like you gotta like develop, you gotta be able to like project your mind into almost like an alter ego, but you know, you need to keep it healthy. Same thing with doing tattoos. It keeps you focused, and then everything around. I don't even know half of the stuff y'all are saying. I'm just finding a good place to jump in.
Yeah.
'Cause I'm zoned in.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm here.
I think that's really key, the creative expression, and I don't think anybody. I think everybody is creative. I think everybody has
The capacity.
Yeah.
And you're like, you ever talk and like zone out in the middle of talking and you realize that you're still here talking?
Is that you like 24/7?
Yeah, pretty much.
All right, is she
But-
done? Are we ready to move
Yeah,
on?
yeah, we're ready. We're
Can you
ready
tell
for
us?
the next one.
Yeah, okay, I'm ready.
You
Can
ready?
you tell us what that tattoo means? Like, why did you get that?
Can the camera see it?
I mean, like the first rule for me of getting a tattoo is don't get one that means anything. So if it never meant anything, you can never regret it.
Can you do that,
Oh,
Leslie?
wow.
I'm just doing this
sideways?
for the like the story.
Yeah.
I'm like, whatever.
You like make up a story.
Yeah, people ask what my tattoos mean all the time. I'm like, it means I think they're cool.
I like
Yeah.
band-aids.
I love Band-Aid.
I'm an heir of the Band-Aid empire.
I'm actually Band-Aid brand's latest influencer.
Wow, good for you.
Band-Aid sponsored.
My nieces love putting band-aids on themselves. My sister was like, no, she's not really hurt. It's just a band-aid. I'm like, okay.
I totally did that as a kid.
That's a good recovery tattoo too, though.
Yeah.
You think
thought
about
so.
like,
No, don't put meaning on it.
yeah, like,
Did you not hear what I just said?
bro, you seen the emojis, like the heart emojis, and they're like wrapped in bandages. Like on an iPhone, you type out recovery, and it's a heart with a bandage around it.
Don't put a
Yeah.
band-aid over it. Let's
All
do
right,
it.
Label
swap,
me.
Swap spots.
Sorry. Oh, swap.
Did that hurt?
No.
Okay.
When you fell from heaven? No, I'm joking. Thank you. It's my coping skill.
Do you need your coping skill for your tattoo?
Mira FaceTimed me the other day, and she had all these temporary tattoo sleeves on her. She's like, I'm getting tatted up, and I thought, oh really? And then I saw she's at freaking all these temporary tattoos on.
There's
Yeah.
one time in elementary school, this girl, she had like this tattooing kit, but it was just like glitter and glue that would like stay on your body for a few days,
Oh my
even
God,
with
I
like
love
with
that.
showers and stuff. And so I traded with her. Like I made her snickerdoodles, and she gave me a tattoo. And my mama was so mad. She made me scrub that till it came off.
Snickerdoodles. Yeah.
Yeah.
Snickerdoodle.
Traded cookies for a tattoo, you know.
No,
The way
you should've
10-year-olds
known
do.
there. You're like, oh, we're in trouble.
I traded bagels for heroin once.
What's it? Poppy seed bagels.
Hey, funny story about how I started tattooing. I traded you know, like a half an 8-ball for my first kit, you know, ever.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hey, whatever gets us.
How did you get this kit?
Yeah,
Just to
right.
Oh, yeah.
Clarify.
I bought this, so you know, this is from hard-earned money building them fences. Boy.
That wrist is gonna be nice. It's gonna feel really nice right there on that wrist. It's gonna be really good.
You feel good? Is it therapeutic?
Not yet.
Not yet.
The
Why
look
are
on
you
her
like
face.
just like staring at it?
Ask her a
always
bunch
do.
of
I always
questions
have
now.
No, that's how I do every time. Every time I have to get blood drawn, I just watch.
Well, I have to look away. I don't like.
I was
I
bit
ain't
by a
getting
dog
blood.
when I was younger, and and they were like, "Look away," and I'm like, "No, I was like 4. Like I wanted to look at them, put the, you know,
The cleaning solution in it and everything.
yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, I mean, I think like the non-judgment of ourselves it's also like a really slippery slope too, right? Because like we're not very good at knowing. At least, definitely in the beginning, we're usually either too hard on ourselves or not hard enough on ourselves, right?
Yeah.
So it's hard to know where you're fitting in that, especially early on, and that's why you need other people
Mm-hmm.
to reflect back to you
Dude,
your
I
thoughts
still
and
do
your
that.
decisions. I do too.
Yeah, my sponsor, she was calling me out last week for being like, why are you being, because I was telling her, I was like, I haven't done anything. She was like, she's like, you just listed like 1,000 things you've done.
Yeah.
She was like, so you haven't done nothing. And I was like, well, I've just been spending more time in bed than normal. She was like, well, that's the truth. She's like, you're spending more time in bed than normal. You're not doing nothing.
Right.
She's like, you're going to work, you're going to the gym, you're doing all this stuff, you know. So like, because you know I have that all or nothing thinking.
Yeah.
And so it's like, you know, if I'm not doing everything I think I should be doing, therefore
You're doing
I'm not
nothing.
doing anything I
Yeah.
should be doing when
Well,
that's not true.
I think that's what this power and like your little my tribe, you know, and like my conversations with Christian and with my sponsor, and just kind of like having people that I can really be open, vulnerable, and raw with about where my mind's taking me, what I'm doing, and coping, whether it's good or not. Just like having that person to just be like, this is what I'm doing and thinking, and like, you know, just that relatability, and like just sharing just insanity, because I know that I'm not so unique that I'm the only one that thinks of this stuff.
Mm.
Oh,
Terminal
My hat?
unique.
who's that? Or
Oh, your hat is creating a shadow.
oh, I don't know
Oh,
about
no.
that.
There you go. Tilt your head up. There you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's also we need other people to reflect ourselves back to us too. You know, you need someone to kind of tell you, hey, you're like, you're being, you know, here's not you're missing an opportunity here, or you're not seeing how good you're really doing. You know, I think that's important. You got to have somebody who can reflect that back to you.
Well, just not just talk, but actually like listen to the feedback too.
Listen
you know?
and take action too.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if I said this to you guys, but like I feel like my sponsor, like the sponsor is huge, but you've met Bonnie before, and like I feel like this woman can literally see into my soul. But I'm so quick with like behaviors that I have ingrained in me since I was a kid, like, and I can give you an answer back and a reason for everything, bullshit you all the way through, and like having a sponsor that's literally can you know, tell me to shut the fuck up, like this is what you're actually doing, and like me sit with it and say, you know what, you're right.
Yeah.
I can't really come back with that, and I don't want to, because if I keep getting excuses and rebuttals and reasons for everything that I'm doing, I'm never gonna really get through the situation that I'm literally trying to change, or my behaviors, or how I think, because I can bullshit my way through anything.
Yeah.
But if I want to change and I don't want to repeat the same things, then I got to get real with the change in my behaviors.
And yeah,
You know?
because we have blind spots. All of us do. There's parts of ourselves that we're just blind to until you're not, right?
Right.
But
But are you really though?
Oh, but
I
no,
think
you
so.
are,
I
because
think
when you
so.
become aware of it, that is the worst feeling, because it's like, oh, my skin has just
Right.
been stripped off of me. I'm aware of this thing that everyone around me has always been aware of, but now I am convinced that everyone hates me.
Yeah.
Just
Right.
because I learned this thing that has always existed.
Yeah.
It is the most uncomfortable feeling, and then you have to just
you know,
sit through it.
I've just recently have gotten I've been getting uncomfortable because I almost died on this last relapse, and you know, I don't want to experience that again, and so like I'm constantly challenged with uncomfortability, but I'm following it with a major amount of faith and conversation and like follow through, and this is like the shortest period of time that I've had the most growth, because the uncomfortability that I don't want to face, because I'm doing it and my head and my heart are connecting, I'm having like rewards on the other side of that. So it's almost like I don't want to be uncomfortable in that change, or that something that's brought forth of my behavior, but I know that that's what I need. So if I can allow myself to remember that every time, and especially with a person that's telling me, like my sponsor or anybody else, like I know that it's coming from a place of love and not from a place of just like pointing out my shit,
Yeah.
you know? So
Yeah.
there's like it's just almost like, you know, you're like, okay, well, let me just shut the fuck up for a second, because I know that she's helping me to get better, so let me not bullshit my way through yet another conversation, and let me take this shit in and change.
That's the gift of earlier recovery, right? Because there's so much of yourself you can't trust. And then you kind of begin to build a life, and you get some time. And the idea is that you start to begin to be able to trust certain parts of yourself, right? Like what used to be an occasional thought will become an intuition, or, you know, a regular thing. So we ideally do get to a place where we can start to trust ourselves. And so I think what happens is people get extended time and they think, oh, I don't need to work anymore.
Complacency.
I don't need to dig anymore.
We were talking about
Right.
that this
Yeah.
afternoon.
And
That little
the thing is
concoction.
that's when you really got to. like is when you get a couple years in, I think that's when you really dive into whatever that program you're working, because now it can really unravel some things. You know,
Very quick. I mean,
Very
like
quickly.
I've had time and I've had little amounts of time, and like what we were talking about before is like codependency, complacency, and ego all wrapped up in a beautiful little present in a different form of my life can throw me off every single time.
Yeah.
If I don't have a solid program.
Right. And
You
the
know?
thing is, just you got to keep working that program. I
working
think that's the key to continue. Like for me, it's always been about like expanding and growing and learning. And so, what I might not only diving into 12-step stuff. You know, like I was really interested in theology, or I got coaching, or I read these books. I did this. Like I'm constantly having to, or music, learning a program, or you got to constantly be evolved. I think for me,
1000%.
that's what I've seen, and I see when people in recovery start to kind of rest on their kind of where they're at, they end up getting miserable again. I just you know.
Yeah, I mean, how many times do you see that happen and then they go back out?
Well, I realize is that early stuff, like the stuff that's working for me, in the beginning is what needs to be consistent. I mean, my sponsor's gonna have 39 years in recovery this year, and she's been doing
still
the same,
sponsoring.
still doing the same thing, still service work, still meetings, consistent, giving back, all these things, and like somehow my disease tells me later on, like, oh, okay, you get your life back, you got your boo, you got the car, and you just kind of like, oh, I don't need to go to as many meetings because shit looks good on the outside.
Right.
And then before you know it, you're in a nice trap house with all those beautiful people, food and running water. You're
Renovating,
like, wow, okay, here we go
renovating the
again,
trap.
behind a dumpster.
Yeah.
How did this happen? What the fuck? You ready?
She done?
Yeah, we're done. You gotta tell us what that one means.
Oh my gosh! So this is a mother-daughter tattoo with hearts. I went off to prison, and my daughter is not with me. She's with my father's mother. Father's mother. So I just got her back in my what?
No, Leslie's gonna get it on the phone and we'll cut it in. Go ahead.
So they had told me that anyways, I didn't have access to her for about, she's 7 now. I didn't have access to her for about 6 years, and I just stayed focused on my recovery, and last year I got back in her life, and that was like super hard, like to cope with that kind of thing. And I think a lot of people that don't have their kids in their lives and are trying to maintain the recovery, it's hard. But I just said to myself, let me just focus on recovery and God, and everything that I lost or gave away will come back to me when I'm supposed to have it. If I start focusing on trying to get her back, I've already lost. And that's what I did. And so like this just symbolizes, my relationship with her, and to never give up.
And no matter what, you'll always be her mom.
Right.
And she'll always be your kid. No matter what. And the arc of God is long, and the child's life is long, and there's so much more of her life to go, where the opportunity for you to be a mother is going to outweigh the 6 that you felt like you weren't involved, right? Like And
and like no matter what, if there's people that don't have access to their kids or whatever. I was talking to a guy the other day that still hasn't been able to see his kids, and I said, listen, we don't know when we're gonna get them back. We don't know, but one day we will, and we need to be ready, whatever that looks like. Like don't just try and think like it's like Nadine said to me, don't use forever or never in your vocabulary when it comes, because kids are relentless. And they know, like instantly, that they always find you. So I just have to be ready for that.
Yeah.
Whatever capacity. So
Amen.
that's what that means. All that.
Cool.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Uh-oh.
All right.
Uh-oh.
Top dog in the seat.
Hey, where's yours going at? Because you're
Christian be doing this.
That's
Oh,
me
yeah.
when I get blood drawn. I'm not like,
Well, this is about to be a spiritual experience for me. Telling you,
speaking in tongues over
this is
there.
the Lord's 40 old E.
Might have to carry us, guys. No.
You
Oh.
want to change the needles?
Yeah, I am.
I just feel like the longer that I'm in recovery, the more tattoos I'm getting. I'm sorry.
I did
The
this
longer
too
I'm
bad.
in recovery. Well, we got these tattoos, my sponsor and I, of like
Are they
the.
matching?
Yeah.
I love that.
I know. I've always wanted a matching tattoo, but Probably did.
Me and my old boss, we were gonna get matching possum tattoos. So no, we both love possums. We both identify as feral possums in a dumpster fire.
Oh, I love that. The dumpster fire. Like while you're in it.
That'd
or
be a
when
good
you-
band name, Feral Possum.
Feral possum.
Feral possums.
It'd be like a Midwest emo band.
Yeah, right.
Yes, Montana band.
Where are you? Can I find
sorry,
me?
that's a pop punk.
Oh,
It's
it's
not
my
Midwest
bad.
emo.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That was
What?
crazy.
Do a emo one then.
No, man.
Do a Midwest emo.
No, I can't. No.
Yes, you can. You're about to do a band. I thought you were gonna do a band, or is that what his idea?
No,
figured out
that's
what-
no. You came up with your
Are we-
new band name
we
earlier.
doing
What
the,
was that again? Suicidal Squirrels.
Yeah,
Oh,
Suicide Squirrels. Because squirrels are always running out in front of your car.
Bad.
They obviously going through something.
We're
you know
coming
what I
up
mean?
with a band.
Like things ain't worked out the way that
They
that
might
squirrel wanted
Maybe
it to.
these
You know.
squirrels just need tattoos.
Maybe they're addicted to
Oh
nuts.
my God, addicted to the nuts.
And
Yeah,
then when they
that's
can't get a
crazy.
nut, they're like, you know what? I need to feel alive. So they're like,
Let me run out in traffic. I
Yeah.
did that one time when I was drunk.
so that's a nice Buick.
I had to pull someone out of the
It's got
street when I
smaller
did that
tires.
once.
I'm like, you be able to
Oh my
get
God,
around.
I was
I
so
was like,
drunk.
that's
I was
fun.
like, you know what? This is over for me. Blah. And then I'm like, never mind. Just stupid. on the freeway.
Yeah, this
Oh.
one was right there. I had to pull a girl off the street because she was trying to jump in front of a car.
We're gonna be.
really?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. We're gonna start a band in that area that I am called Bonnie's
I'm ready.
Bitches.
You gonna actually start a band though?
Yeah,
Is it just a
I play
concept?
mad Guitar Hero, dog. Like I'm
Not
really-
Guitar Hero.
Mm.
What was your Guitar Hero song?
whatever one is supposed to be. Mary had a little lamb.
Christian, bring us back.
A little leaky right
Yeah.
here.
It's
So,
gotten-
yeah,
It's gotten a little weird.
yeah. So,
Sorry.
so I have this concept, and it's AAA transformation, and that is the first A is awareness, which that's what people usually get. The second A is acceptance, and the third A is action. What people usually do is they go from awareness to action.
And
They
put your
go from
finger
a-
down.
And put your finger down. Sorry, I didn't mean it. They go to awareness and they go right to action. Without the acceptance, what you end up doing is creating more ego. You end up building another framework or another persona or another ideological view of yourself because you never accepted that whatever you became aware of about yourself is what it is. And I think that's like it's something that I think it's taken me a long time, that self-acceptance of like and it was kind of like a reoccurring theme for a while of like these parts of myself that maybe I don't like or I want to change, and then by not accepting that they were there, I would just try to manifest the solution or do the opposite, right? Instead of accepting that, all right, this is a thing that's in me. Why is it here? Or even a better question than why is, what does this thing have to teach me?
What's the lesson to be learned?
What's the lesson? I think that's a better question than why. I think why is good. Might want to learn
So
about
Bonnie
that.
says to me all the time, what's
But
the lesson
what
to learn?
is I think what is a better question because Richard Rohr, who's probably my spiritual teacher, controversially says, you should not try to rid yourself of sin until you know what it has to teach you, which you won't hear on a Sunday.
But maybe we should.
Yeah, maybe we should.
Well, it even
bro.
says, what does it say in the Bible? It says that you got to know sin before you can know righteousness.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's got to be some sense of acceptance of, and so I think that's a key piece. So when Mira, when you're having these, our coping mechanisms to deal with an intense emotional, psychological pain that you're feeling with not being able to see your daughter, and then accepting that, hey, this is where I'm at now.
Mm-hmm.
The acceptance gives you the I would call it like a divine strength to begin to take action. And then the actions you take after
Right.
that, I think, are more pure of intention. They're more
Right.
aligned. They're more congruent to who you are. But I think the acceptance thing, it's hard. It's hard for people to really,
Yeah.
Well, I think that it was like, when you have the initial pain or the trauma of it, is either an old one that's brought back up or a new day one. And then for me, my brain is like situation and then how to cope. And like how to not act out on the first instincts to how to cope from all the things that could pop up in my brain. But, and sometimes it's just repeatedly sharing about where I'm at and where my mind's taking me and being so honest with the people that are around me, just like talk it out. Don't act too much on any situation, but just like verbalize where my brain is taking me so I can lose the power. And
Yeah.
then towards the end of it, like understanding, okay, wait a second. It is all going to work out.
That's like the feeling your feelings and
Right.
not acting on your feelings.
Yeah, the fear
Right.
is a big problem for me. That's the one that gets in the way. When I first accepted, like, 'cause I deal with something similar too, like with my daughter. I've been working a case plan for DFACs and stuff, and I put a lot of effort into that, just to be in her life, regardless if I lose, or if I fail, or if I succeed, at whatever I'm doing. But the main thing is just showing up. That's
Being
the main
consistent.
thing. Being consistent and just showing up, because that's all that little girl's ever gonna ask for me in her life, is just to show up.
Just show up.
And if I can do that and not be high when I show up, shoot, I mean, the love part's already there. It's ingrained in her, right?
No, 1,000%. That's so true.
But if I
That's it.
just, like, sometimes I get scared to go into the courtroom. Sometimes I get scared to just be in. Sometimes I get scared that I'm gonna fail. But if I don't show up, I've already failed.
Well, just saying that you're scared. I mean, I think like we a friend of mine. I don't see him much anymore. Adam Abramowitz,
Oh, I like the last
and
name.
he would always say, "I'm scared." And the first time he said it, it took me like back a little bit. You don't hear grown men say they're scared. But then I realized the power of him saying he was scared. Like, he was admitting a fear. And so, and actually, he's less afraid than I am, because I'm so scared I don't even want to say that I'm scared.
Yeah.
Right? I want to call it what it is. It's fear.
That ego
'Cause
gets
that's
in the way, right?
emotional vulnerability.
Yeah.
And that's just to even admit that you're not perfect. You're like, no, I got it, but
Oh, yeah.
but,
Well, it's a whole-
but I'm not going to tell
Step
you.
Yeah.
It's a saving the face and the ass at the same time. It's just not possible,
I mean, if you look in the mirror and make
Bend
yourself all
over.
topsy-turvy, you just might.
Right.
But I do think like some of that was due to like my religious kind of beliefs and kind of how I came into religion, and I was such a one of those devout religious people, and then life begins to unfold, and yet God is still God, right? And so I think a lot of it was that, like, I was trying to manifest faith, and which on some level I guess is not terrible, but to admit that. And the other thing that's been really profoundly powerful is admitting when I'm sad. And like I was talking to a friend, and he's talking about he's disappointed and this and that, and I said, man, what are you, happy, sad, or mad?
Right.
Let's just get down. And he's like, I'm sad. And I think sad, now you can, what's making you sad?
But that's really scary to look at, because I like to just stay mad, because the anger protects me.
Yeah.
But beneath the anger, there's pain, there's sadness, there's, all sorts of things that are more vulnerable to look at. But, for me, having dealt with, like, mental health struggles my whole life, I've got, like,
I got to a point where I was tired of being like, I'm sad. Because I feel like I'm always sad. People are tired of hearing that I'm sad. And it's like, you know, the boy who cried wolf, except the girl who cried sad. Like, you know, like most of my friends, their contact photo for me in their phone is a picture of me crying because I'm not capable. Like, if I cry, I take a selfie and I send it to people because I think it's hilarious.
Are you an ugly crier or?
I think so. Everyone else thinks I'm a cute crier, except for this is one picture that my best friend has as his contact photo, and he loves to use it. Like last time when we were on set together, he was like showing me. He's like, hey, call me, and he shows all the actors. I'm like, seriously.
You got an ugly cry face on you?
Yeah, for that one I did, because I was going through some stuff and I was listening to Tyler Childers, and I was like, this was a bad idea. But, you know, going beneath the surface of, you know, I'm sad. This is why I'm sad. But what about this is making me sad? You know, like, because there's like there's the what, there's the why.
Anger.
Yeah, and that's something I'm at right now is because I've been riding this anger for like 6 months.
So you replace the sadness, and like, didn't they say that like behind the sadness or in front of the sadness is anger? So sadness is almost like you brought up now anger. Instead of dealing it with it that way, so that's like the root behind anger, isn't it?
Yeah, like anger is a secondary emotion.
A secondary emotion.
Yeah, and for me, when I'm angry, it's usually what's beneath it is sadness. Like there's sorrow, there's grief, there's something. But you know, for the last 6 months, I've been angry, so I've been at the gym building muscles. I'm like, I'm not okay, but I got muscles. Well, you know,
anger gets shit done. You know, anger gets shit done. That's one thing about it.
Depression does not.
Yeah.
It's the opposite. So it's like the anger is keeping me safe. The anger is keeping me productive. But you know, now it's like running out. There's a song that says, "All my life, I've drowned in adrenaline or something, and then now my blood runs slow like a sedative." And that song just like embodies that for me right now, because it's like I'm going, now it's gone.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, I either succumb to this or I face it.
And anger's addictive.
Oh, it feels so good.
Yeah. I mean, it roots you into your own interpretation of reality, despite what others might be saying or, you know. And then I think I just got tired of being angry all the time.
Yeah, I don't feel that I'm like really. I mean, when I think about situations like with my daughter or with my ex-husband, stuff like that, like I get angry, but then through the work, like I just allow myself to like, what was my part to play and what is the lesson to be learned through that, and it helps me to kind of get through it. And I just don't allow myself to stay in the anger too much, because I know that my disease, you know, and all that kind of stuff, like to feed off of that. It wants to keep me in that kind of anger, sickness type of mindset, so that it'll push me closer to going out the door. And so I can stay in it for a moment, but then, you know, I just kind of like, I'll go to sleep and I'll wake up the next day. Maybe that's not like always the best way to cope, because I'm like, I kind of like, you know, allow it just to be where it is. And like my therapist even said, like, take that memory of whatever you're dealing with, just put it inside of a container and just close it. And then we'll just, you know, we'll deal with it later, you know, until it's time to process that. Because I think that, again, like the steps are in the order, the way that they're supposed to be able to process that stuff when it's time. My brain can allow me to get angry about a lot of things that's just not time for me to process, you know, but it can come up in other ways, I guess, you know.
Yeah. I think that's anger is such a, what do they call it? A cunning and baffling anger is.
Right.
You know?
But anger also, you know, it has the power to create and the power to destroy. And so it just kind of depends, like,
your
how
perspective.
you're channeling it.
Yeah. A lot of stuff. Some of my best, I feel like some of the best things that I've created as far as like music or just period, I'm fucking angry, I'm sad, but I'm purging it through that creativity.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I try not to do that with tattoos.
Yeah, oh my gosh, music has such a direct impact on the art that I create. So like when I'm trying to channel a specific emotion into like a poem that I'm working on, if I listen to the wrong music, it gets all muddied and I'm like, what is happening? So like I have like my go-to bands, because usually like when I'm creating, I'm angry about something, and so I'm getting that anger out. And then, like, once I've gotten past the anger, I'm like, oh, right, there's also sadness here. So let's make this other one. And so then I switch to some, like, sad girl music. And,
Yeah.
you know, and I
Yeah.
just.
My music has changed since I first came into recovery to now. It's like it was a totally different, like, what I was listening to. And then now it's kind of like more mellowed and kind of sad type of music right now.
Yeah.
Like Adele radio. I'm listening to Adele radio.
Adele radio.
Ethel
Yeah.
Kane is one of my go-tos and has been for the last
Who's
few
that?
months. Ethel Kane.
Ethel Kane.
I don't even know how to describe her genre, but I do have a playlist called Drowning in the Bathtub, and it is mostly her. Because, man, you just, like, sit in the bathtub, you got the reverb from the from the echoes, and you're just like, ah, yes, I'm microdosing suicide.
Oh,
Like-
Clip it. Clip that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I love it when Chad
Wow,
laughs from other
yeah.
rooms.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like.
Yeah, like I didn't want to go to the gym, but I told myself I was going to the gym, and I went to the gym, and I put on Deftones,
Ooh, good choice.
Christian, we do need to
and I
talk
started
about
with you've seen The Butcher, which is my.
that. No.
It starts off.
See, I never pictured you as a Deftones fan.
Yeah.
I cannot stand Deftones.
You don't?
I hate Deftones more than my
Well, maybe
Maybe you're
maybe
tone deaf. No.
like. is
No,
it-
I think I'm sorry. Chino is.
Ooh.
No,
Chino.
because when I texted you about the situation that was going on and I wasn't handling it well, and then you send me a Deftones song, I'm like, this is not the time or the place. 'Cause
Oh.
She was like so angry with you.
I was
about that.
like,
I wasn't. I was
She
just
put a band-aid on that bitch
sharing.
and said, "Oops,
Yeah.
fucking not again."
no, I've
Motherfucker.
always hated Deftones. I've tried to like them. I cannot.
Yeah.
And that's
I
what
was-
got you to the gym.
Oh my god.
That's what got me to the
Going
gym.
through it, buddy.
Yeah.
So I used to listen to like Rick Ross, gangster rap, bitches selling that shit. Now it's like, hello, is it me you're looking for? And I'm like, I can do this. It'll be okay. Just like I try to allow myself to cry because I can literally use humor and being busy and helping other people and all this other shit to not deal with my own pain.
Yeah.
And so like, I
Well,
think
that's
that the
what you
music
did before.
yeah, that's what
and
I did
that's
before.
what it led you to. Right?
Right. Yeah. I mean, it was. I can say so extremely busy and use outside things to cope with my pain, and I don't even realize that I'm doing that shit. I don't even realize.
Because ignoring it has been so normal. It's been like our baseline for so long that we don't even realize we're stuffing, we're pushing it down, we're ignoring it, we're avoiding it because it's just like, well, this is what I've always done, and it's like, well, yeah, and that's the problem.
Yeah.
I mean, but when I say that I've changed everything, this time, I mean, I've changed everything. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm having more respect for my own body. I'm having more respect for what I do. Even like, we were talking about the behavioral contract kind of thing, and that's because what I was doing before is like, I was using being promiscuous as a way to cope with my pain, and then using that as being like a sugar baby and trying to make money from that and all these kind of different things. And like, and realizing that I did that for so long, because I was in so much pain from being in that 14-year relationship and the abuse and the craziness that went on with that and not having my daughter and all these things that went on, and then staying very busy with helping people. And so it could be a mixture of both of those things. And realizing like, what the hell am I doing? I'm just trying to do whatever I can to not deal with this pain, and just in real life fashion, staying so busy, blah, 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 all day, and it's like, at the end of the day, I'm not really I'm helping people, but I'm like dying inside.
Yeah.
And it's like
Saving everyone before yourself.
right, and not even knowing that until I'm in my darkest hour, not even realizing that until now,
Yeah.
like where I'm like, you know what, we're stopping all that. I'm not doing that to myself. I'm respecting myself. I'm giving myself a chance to really heal it always possible and not limit myself to what I did before or what I think feels right and be uncomfortable for the first time in my life. And have like, a regular income with a regular job and not allow myself, like, I mean, fast money can come from any way. It could be from sugar baby, it could be fraud. Everybody does like their own little thing. It seems like it's a great idea when you come into recovery, and it's like, the darkness puts his handprints on, and especially when people are dealing with financial insecurity, especially early recovery people or people at any time, really. I mean, like, I could be struggling with money, and my brain gives me all these great ideas on how fix that problem really quick, and then you realize, holy shit, like, not all money is good money.
Yeah.
I
mean, we were talking about that earlier too. Someone gave me an opportunity to make some money, and I was like, nope.
Instantly, like, oh man, if you would have caught me a couple years ago, we would have been riding around doing all that. But no, not today.
Yeah, I've been down this path before.
Not
Didn't
today.
like where it took me.
You're like so crazy, and like, and then you say to yourself, so how I cope now is way different than how I coped before.
Yeah.
If I'm just buying a large fry and I'm spending $100 at CVS thinking I'm an acrylics artist of nails, way better than before, because I'm just I can't even believe I'm saying that, because it's like so much growth and like just changing things that I thought was so hard to change. I didn't think that was possible to even think. And I think that I was watching one of your podcasts. You had two people that were on here, some women that were talking about that, and like when I was going through that change, it was like I watched that and I was like, maybe I can do that too.
Yeah.
And like say, okay, what would it feel like to not settle and like go like the easier, softer way always.
Yeah.
And that's the power of sharing your story, because you don't know who's gonna help. Because someone's sitting out there like, oh, I relate to that.
Yeah.
Like, oh, if they made it work, can I make it work?
They did it, and it's all about like that whole, like, I used to throw around the word faith like it was another word, like, oh, third step, let's have faith, blah, blah, blah. But like to truly live in faith, there's such a reward on the other side of that. But it's just it's comforting at the end when you know what faith really is supposed to feel like.
Well, the thing is we get faith and belief. We conflate those two.
Yeah.
And
conflate. Look at you using the words.
I know.
How many syllables?
Wow. Conflate two.
Because we just think if we just believe more, and that's not faith. I think faith takes action, requires action.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going down. I remember talking to you about that. It's like, okay, like you have this path of faith laid out before you, and it's a path you've never been on. You have no idea where it's going. It looks really crazy, and you're living in a completely different way than the way you lived before. But because you're living it, that is faith. That's the thing that's faith.
Faith is an action.
And that's like a lot of what like we do, like with having a ministry and having this nonprofit. There's like months where it's like, okay, I'm not sure how,
right,
or what's coming in, or how it's gonna work out.
Yeah.
But I just keep moving forward.
Yeah.
And Dean is somebody's like, and he told me, and I was kind of like, man, it can't be that easy. But he's like, you just keep doing the right thing. You keep doing what you're doing. Keep showing up. Keep loving on people. Keep bringing people close. You keep doing that, and it's going to work out.
And you realize in the grand scheme of things is like, even Bonnie says to me, like, what are you worried about? You have everything that you need right now.
Yeah.
So what are you stressing about? And my mind is like, oh, I got to pay this shit. I got the. It's like, okay, slow down, and just be like, okay, what do we have right now? And that's why the grateful list really does help me in the morning.
Yeah.
Just kind of like get my mind in this spot. But when I'm in the moment of like, especially with that kind of stuff, like, you're just like, it goes all these different directions, and it's like, okay, for right now, we're okay. We are literally okay. We're good.
Yeah.
Let's just take this one thing at a time and slow it all the way down.
That's all my prayers have been recently, is just, I got nothing to say but thank you.
Yeah.
Right.
That's all I can do. It's just, 'cause
Yeah.
I feel like anything else is just going to be bullshit anyway.
Well, yeah, because like
So
that's
I
one
might
of
as well
the.
just stick to the thing that I know is true.
Thy will be done.
I am
Amen.
thankful for this.
Yeah.
I'm not even at thy will be done, because I'm not sure I want it done. So, but I'm just going to be grateful.
Don't pray for patience. You'll get prison time.
Oh.
It's
Who are
true.
you praying to?
Yeah, I know, right. I don't know. It's the same.
Yeah, but there's this post I keep seeing. Like I see it circulate social media every now and then, and I've been seeing it a lot this week. And it says, the things you have today are what you prayed for years ago. Because that's one of those things. Like I'll get so caught up. I get so caught up in what I don't have, I forget what I do have.
Yeah.
Like where I live right now, I lived there a few years ago too. But when I lived there a few years ago, I was sleeping on the floor and had nothing in my name. And now I'm like, look over like all this art that I have on the wall that I painted, like, and look at all like the way I've decorated it, material things, but it's that visual component of like, no, I'm really not in the same place that I was.
Yeah.
I've always like, everything's always worked out. Everything's always been provided. I've always had what I needed.
Yeah.
And I have never known how it's going to happen before it happens, because like when I moved back in February, I didn't have money for rent. I had no food. I applied for EBT. They just got back to me last week. So I had all these things to figure out. My job kind of like forced me out. They just stopped putting me on the schedule. I'm like, what's going on? Like, I was like, there's no money coming in. There's no money here in the first place. What am I going to do? And it worked out.
Yeah.
I just did what was in front of me. I'm like, okay, what can I do?
Yeah.
I think that like the work that you put into yourself compared to the person you were before, like spiritually, emotionally, and physically, is 10 times more than you were before. I mean, just like based on just all the stuff that these things won't mean anything, if you can't keep them. But like you're doing a lot more for yourself now probably than you ever have, right?
Maybe. I hope so.
Yeah, right. Right.
I love we are not saints. We just try to live by spiritual principles.
What's
right?
the point?
Like we're not saints. We're not trying to be.
Yeah,
Right?
You say, what's the point? And they say, the point is.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was trying to follow you.
I like that. That was good.
The point is we're not, and so that's the thing. It's like, like material things, they have a place in our lives. We're not freaking monks. We're not trying to be monks.
Mm-hmm.
And I think when I was early in recovery, that's what I thought spirituality meant, was I had to be the extremes, right? I don't know the middle ground. I didn't know, like, it really took a 12-step program to tell me that I could have a God of my own understanding. And it's taken years of deconstructing what I've been told it is, right? To allowing myself to have my own connection and expression of it, to then I kind of look back and I go, oh, it was never really wrong. Like I can see the truth in the fundamental practice of my faith. Yeah. I see the truth in it. None of it was a lie. It was just the way that it was being expressed through me, with anger or rigidness, and not through love and compassion and actually living this thing out. It's a profound experience, and I think like I told someone recently, like don't be too attached to who you are now, right?
Oh, that's not that hard.
Wear
I don't
it.
like her very much.
Wear it. Well, yeah. I mean, you're really good at. You have a level of self-awareness. You laugh about yourself. You know that you don't have it all figured out, and you're okay with that. Like I see that. I think more so now. I think there's a huge level of self-acceptance that you have that I can see in you, Sarah. That's like, like you're, you probably still do beat yourself up in your mind, but not to the degree that I think you were.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think like I don't know what our topic was, but I think we talked about self-acceptance. We talked about healthier coping mechanisms, kind of being where you are. And so whoever we are now, we wear it like a loose garment. It's ours to wear right now, so we wear it. But don't be too attached, because at some point it won't be who we are anymore. And that's like the beauty of like, I think the most, the way I know this is true is in my relationship with my wife. So we've been together 24 years. Wow. We are not the same people we were when we met.
Of course not.
So we're completely, totally different, yet we still are one, right? Like, so allowing, like when we're in a really good season, realizing this is a really good season. And who knows what the next season is. Yeah. But that's what this is. And that's where that attachment to who I am or whatever the expression of reality is happening right now, when I get too attached to that, then I hold on and I don't want it to change. Yeah. And my experience is every time it's changed, it's better.
Yeah, this too shall pass applies to everything. The good stuff, the bad stuff, the weird stuff, it all passes.
So I got not alone. Because I'm not alone, and you're not alone. And when our brain keeps telling us that no one understands and we're alone, it's bullshit. It's a lie. It's the darkness that's trying trap us in our aloneness and uniqueness, and no one understands. And me being not alone means that it's okay to be me.
I thought y'all both got like these deep, meaningful tattoos, and I was just like, "F yeah, Band-Aid."
I just wrote this on a pad before we got tattooed, so I had no idea.
I know
what I
my
was getting.
sponsor. I said, "What should I get?" And she was like, "Well, you want it big or small?" And I was like, "I think small." And she was like, "You want it meaningful or not?" And I was like, "I think meaningful." Then she busted this out. I was like, "Oh my god, it's so perfect."
Always call your sponsor. It's a good one.
Give me the thing.
So that you're not alone.
Nicotine.
Yeah, that looks dope.
Nicotine thing.
Fits perfect there. All right. Do we have a camera on Dylan? Okay, let me adjust that, and then Dylan, you'll take us out, yeah?
Yeah. I'd be looking crazy. All right.
You just have hat hair, though.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it's-
sweating in here though.
I know.
It's so hot.
I know, they told me everyone had the AC on.
A little stuffy.
But it's after 6, so.
All right. So, Dylan, once you take us out, you've kind of been listening, tattooing, chiming in.
Yeah.
This was ink therapy. I think we can do this again. I think we pulled it off.
Yeah.
But of everything you've heard and where you're at in life, what do you think was really relevant, and how can you close us out?
So basically, like the main thing that I got from everybody sharing and talking was that life gets hard. Sometimes we want to give up, and we want to throw in the towel. Like we got a lot of stuff that brings us down, that weighs us down. We're all in search for that freedom, which is exactly what you get when you overcome the bondage of our addictions and the stuff that keeps us bonded. We're all searching for that, and some of us find it in pacifying ourselves with tattoos. Some of us, we find the release in music. Some of us just picking up the phone, calling our sponsor. All of those things are super good tools. But replacing that fear and actually putting the faith into action, showing up. I'm going to tell you a short story before we close. When I was about 20 years old, I suffered from panic attacks daily. I thought I was dying every day of my life. And I was always on the phone. I was searching for what it was that was going to cure me, man. I wouldn't take ibuprofen without thinking I was going to die. I couldn't go jump in the shower without my wife standing next to me because I was like literally going to panic. I thought my heart was going to explode. I have a heart attack. It took me forever to like overcome that. But what eventually got me out of myself was the exposure to the things that were making me have the panic attacks. It was just one of those things. I had to put myself in those positions. So it's like a lot of things, we got fears coming out of when we get sober. We just got to attack it, you know what I mean? And picking up the phone, knowing that we're not alone, having a super strong bond with your child or something that drives you to want to continue to go, or even something that reminds you you're going to heal over time. These are all things that, they call them like mooring lines and stuff, things that keep us tied into our recovery like a boat and its mooring line. Right. But yeah, so that's what I got from it. It's always super enjoyable to be here with you, Christian, man. It was cool being on the show with you, and we're all on the Most High Show, boy.
Yeah.
We're kicking it, ink therapy.
Yeah, that's it. Thank you guys for listening to this episode of The Most High Show. Thank you for everyone being here. Thank you for the sponsors and supporters who make this kind of stuff possible. Peace.
Yay. Awesome.
Dang, we did it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
That was awesome. Look at this. This thing is.
Good, dude.
It's kind of hard to do. Like, you was like, can you talk and tattoo at the same time? I'm like, fuck. It's hot, too. I mean,
He's like,
It's so hot.
That's so awesome.
smoke me a cigarette.
That was great, man. Good.